We do a funny thing, knock on doors for a living and the work we put into it. But if you enjoy it and you find ways to enjoy it, I believe enjoying something is a choice. In the times of my days knocking doors that suck, getting told no, I'm in 95-degree heat in a Florida summer, I have to find a way to enjoy that because that'll give you satisfaction in your day. And then when your day ends, you feel like you did something that you enjoyed and something not many people would do. I also take pride in that as well. I do something that a very small percentage of people would even try to do and that can do at a high level. And that's something I feel proud of.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our endless subscribers. Here we are. This is episode 7 of The Signal. We're here with the regional manager for field marketing in Florida, Will Lombardi. Will, welcome to the pod, dude.
I'm happy to be on the pod.
Yeah, dude, we're happy to have you here.
What a cap to my, another trip up to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Cherry on top.
We're just happy to have you, dude. It's good to hang out with you and spend time with you. I'm here once again. You might have missed him for a couple episodes. Our co-host, Mr. Mark Featherstone, he was away, and you might not know this, but we shot episode 5 and 6 on the same day. And Mark, you just so happened to be at a doctor's appointment with your wife because you have a new baby coming.
Yes,
I do. I bet that by the time this episode airs, you will be a dad at that time.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And so I thought it would be fun for you to predict right now what time and day the baby will be born.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll spot check it later. So
is there a pot of money for this? Is that
we could, I'll put $20 in, closest guess.
Maybe like ask for a donation from the
What's
subscribers.
The due date?
October 10th.
October 10th.
Is
so
the due date.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your prediction?
My prediction is October 4th.
Oh, he thinks
I'm going to go
early.
October 4th.
You're going with the
It's
under?
going to come a little early.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Under's
with the,
always a good
go
bet.
with the under.
Yeah.
Will?
I'm gonna go with the same birthday as my mom, October 8th
Oh, right on.
at 3:22
3:22
p.m.
PM,
Nice.
an afternooner. Okay.
Yeah, nice afternoon or an early afternoon.
I'm going to go like little at 7:04 a.m. in the morning.
That's a good bet.
You're gonna
It's a
go
good
through the
bet.
night.
Yeah.
Middle of the night.
7:04.
Take me to the hospital by 7. Yeah. I don't think I'm smarter than the doctors or the scientists. So I'm going to say October 10th
Right on the due
Smart.
date.
at 7:51 a.m.
All right.
Okay.
Log that.
Anyway, we got to, obviously, this show can only exist because of the massive money that comes in from our sponsors. When you have such high subscriber levels, the money just flows. And this episode, Mark is going to be doing our sponsor read today. So Mark, what do you got for us today?
Episode 7 is brought to you by Psycho Bunny, the only hoodie you will ever need.
Wow. Yeah, and it is true. Psycho bunnies are spreading like a virus throughout Massachusetts right now. And anyway, great to be here. Will Lombardi, we got to, this episode is going to be pretty epic. Will, you're from the solar industry. I mean, you're not from the solar industry, but you were in the solar industry prior to coming to this organization. I think we're going to get some great insights about like what it's like coming and working here and being a part of this organization and the culture here. We're going to dive into that a little bit and share with the world, maybe what it's like, what the vibe is like here. And then we're going to dive in. Will's just an absolute animal. He knows how to get things done. He knows how to create business out of thin air. And we're going to get, some practical advice there on, how to level up your game. And so anybody that's listening, this is a great chance to do just that. So Will Lombardi, my friend, you've been here with us for a year almost?
February.
A year in
7
February.
months.
Okay, so just barely over half a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been a great addition to our team. In fact, I just want to give you a quick little plug here, and then we've got to dive in and get to know you a little bit. But the leadership on the setter side of the business for us has been a huge challenge in the state of Florida. We've taken some shots with some different people, and it's never really gotten the traction that I think that market demands. And when we met you and brought you in, I had really high hopes and expectations for the leadership that you were going to bring, and you have delivered above and beyond it. The state of Florida is just in such a good place right now, and you are such a huge part of it. So I just want to thank you for that,
Appreciate that.
taking the leap and choosing to come and work with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, like let's just, before we even get there, okay.
I'm
Let's get a
excited
little-
to get there.
Yeah, let's get a little background on you. Who are you? Where do you come from? Just tell the world, who is Will Lombardi and how you became the person that you are today.
I don't know if there's a slight smile there because you've asked me this question like 4 times.
Yeah.
And I hope that I have something different now. I'm going to start like making things up.
Yeah, whatever.
You know,
but I forgot all 4 answers, so it's new to me.
Well, I'm originally from Massachusetts. I'm a Mass guy.
Yeah.
Grew up, most people, you know, I tell them from Mass, like, oh, Boston, but I am all the way out in the Happy Valley. I'll plug the Happy Valley, Northampton, Massachusetts. Grew up there with mom and dad. Dad was a high school principal. Mom was a social worker. Love coming up to Massachusetts. I got to see my dad last night. I'll plug this. He's the principal of Stoneham High School. They just got a brand new school, $250 something million, crazy. But yeah, I got to grow up with my mom and dad in Northampton. Little sister Olivia. You know, I guess I'll start with a little story. You know, I grew up in a pretty middle class type, you know, normal middle class. You know, we had everything that we needed and had a great upbringing. To kind of sum everything up, you know, I had a great upbringing up in Western Massachusetts, and wouldn't trade that for the world. But I kind of started my journey outside of my hometown because I wanted a little bit more than that. I wanted to have the choice to live a different lifestyle, live in different areas, do different things. So I credit my parents for showing me how much hard work it took to get what they had. So I think I got, you know, pretty well established with a strong work ethic and a big vision from some, you know, humble small town type vibe that I had in Northampton, Massachusetts.
It's a pretty town. I've been there.
Yeah, have you?
I quite enjoy Northampton. Yeah, shout out Northampton. It's like a nice, quaint. It's like classy. You go like walk downtown. It's like, it feels like you're in a.
It's the first time I've heard that. It's
I really liked it actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What did you do in Northampton?
Well, we had a sales rep that lived out there. I went out shadowing him and ended up, you know, I think going and selling a deal, grabbing a beer, and just hanging out.
It's like most stories, probably.
Yeah. Same thing I do. You know, we went out, sold the deal, and celebrated.
Sell a deal, get a beer.
Yeah.
And you know, that's you know, I don't know how much else I can say, but you know, I played sports and you know, have a lot of great friends still from that town, still live there, see them a lot. But that brought me to the East Coast, to Salem, Mass. That's where I kind of started my solar career. And you know, that was like right after the pandemic. I was like, all right, I got to get out of this town where I got to stand in line for, you know, a grocery store. And, you know, it felt like it was getting smaller, I guess. So came out to the East Coast, lived in Salem for about 8 months. Everybody knows Salem, Mass. It's a great place to be. That was pretty short lived. I was only there for about 9 months. I got to experience like the worst times of the year. It was all through winter that I lived in Salem, Mass. And then that's when it brought me to Florida. I would say I'm pretty much a Floridian now. Been down there for 4 years. So that's it's kind of my journey to where I am now, living in St. Petersburg, Florida.
What did you think you were going to be doing professionally?
Man, that's a great question. I don't think I really had an idea. I'll kind of, you know, after I got out of high school, kind of got thrown on a path of fog, I guess I'm going to call it. It's the word that's coming to mind. Didn't exactly know where I was going, where I was even at. Kind of started to bounce around some schools. I started school in civil engineering. Then I went into kinesiology. Then I went into communications. And then I finally landed on business. So I feel like I was kind of whittling myself down from something that was like, you know, very complex to something very simple. It just kind of became about people, I would say, at a certain point. But then I got my degree. And then at that point, I decided I knew I wanted to make money. I knew I wanted to work with people. Saw myself in leadership type positions, you know, just being kind of like a sports captain. I had the opportunity to coach some high school lacrosse teams for a couple of years, kind of in that interim. So I was like, hey, let's get some experience. Sales jobs kind of felt like the best opportunity to do that. And when I started in solar, I never really thought it was going to be something I'd do for as long as I've been doing it for, but I ended up loving it, being good at it. And fast forward 5 years, kind of here I am. And now it is my career.
Yeah. It does that to people.
Yeah.
You start doing it and then it's really hard to see yourself doing anything else.
Yeah. It'll pull you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your first job in solar?
My first job in solar, I was just a setter. It was an entry level setting position that I applied for on Indeed. I definitely want to give a shout out to the person that recruited me at my last company, because I interviewed for a couple different sales jobs. I was looking at windows, I was looking at home remodeling, pest control, and all those interviews were great. The financial side of it and what they offered was fairly similar, but I ended up choosing solar really because of the guy that recruited me. All the interviews were about my resume and like the skills that I had. And then I hop on this interview with this solar guy, and he's like, "What do you like to do for fun?" That was his first question. And so we ended up talking about my dog and hiking for like 20 minutes. And then we finally got into solar. So I kind of chased that feeling of, just wanted to be a part of a good group of people. So that I went with that solar company, just setting appointments out there in Salem, Mass, wearing a mask. I had to start my solar career wearing a mask, staying 6 feet back, couldn't go inside houses. And then took on, leadership pretty quickly. I didn't get offered more money. I didn't get offered, any sort of really advantage of doing it. It was just something they're like, "Hey, we want you to start going out with people." And then became a team lead, became an assistant manager, district manager, and kind of flew up the ranks pretty quickly at that last company.
Why?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's you always got to plug performance. I think if you don't know how to do the job at a high level and show somebody what's possible, then it's going to be hard for them to visualize them reaching their goals in a job. Because, it's somebody said it yesterday, but a new rep with no idea about solar, or sometimes they don't even know themselves, or they don't know really what they want. They're always going to do 50% of what you do. So if I was doing minimum metrics, then how am I going to expect them to make money in the job? So,
the old cliche, if you can't do, then teach, that doesn't apply in solar.
You need to do
at all.
Yeah.
You got to do.
If you don't do, what are you teaching?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I was sometimes people ask me like, was it hard for you in the beginning? The only day that was hard for me was my first day. Like I tell people this story all the time. My first day was terrible, but my second day kind of went through a change in perspective of knocking doors. And I set 4 appointments my second day in the job. And then I did, we were demo based. So I did 25 demos my first month and 39 my second month. So I think performance is something you always got to, think about as a leader, and how you want to get into leadership is like, get good at the job first. And then you can figure out how to lead and how to teach. But besides that, I would say I just like being friends with people. I like making friends. So I liked the aspect of just somebody new comes into the business and just being able to get to know them and like what makes them click, what they like to do outside of work, what they want for themselves in the future, and then having part in that in some way, even if I'm not, of course there's people you're going to teach sales techniques, you're going to teach a pitch, teach objections, but sometimes it's just the influence that you have on people. Just even being a friend, being somebody who's positive in their life, because that's a pretty cool thing I've noticed in solar. Some of the guys and girls that come into the industry, they don't really have somebody in their lives that was like a cheerleader for them, somebody like showing them all these doors in life and how to get there and believing in them, which I'm grateful that I had that, but you get to be that person in solar. So I would say those are the two big reasons: just producing, and then just like wanting to be around people.
Yeah, if you're in the people business, you better like people. If you don't, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to get followership if you're not genuinely interested and caring about the people that are following you.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, you definitely got that in spades. I wanted to ask a little bit, part of the purpose of this podcast is we call it the signal for a reason. The signal, we're sending out a signal to the industry or to the world about who we are and what we're doing. I think there's a lot of people looking for something in their life and looking for a place to be. And um, that might be here for some people. And you have a great perspective. A lot of the guests we've had on here are people that have been with us for a long time. In fact, a lot of them were here when we first started the business. Every guest we've had has been here at least 3+ years, and most of them 4 or 5. So you're somebody, you've been here only 7 months. You were in the industry for a handful of years prior to that. You were a leader down in the state of Florida. I don't want to steal your story, but why don't you, I would love to hear like how you ended up here, and then, why you chose to come here, and then what it's been like since you've been here.
Yeah. I mean, my first company was my first home. It taught me everything about solar. It taught me more about myself, and gave me the opportunity to start my career and also move to somewhere I've always wanted to live. They moved me down there and gave me that opportunity. So I think I had a lot of loyalty to them, and I think a lot of people in our industry have a lot of blind loyalty. People will just stay at a place for longer than maybe they should because they feel like they owe something to that company, or they feel like they're comfortable with the people that they're with. And of course that's, there's honor in that. Like, you respect somebody that's loyal, but at a certain point you got to kind of, I guess I'll just say, be a little bit more selfish and, think about yourself a little bit more. And like, for what you're putting into the company, or for what you're putting into the group of people that you're working with, like, what are you getting back from it? And unfortunately, I can't say that I came to that realization. So maybe that's my advice for everybody, is like, take a step back and see what you're getting out of it. But the reason that I came to Boundless was, I guess, not exactly my choice. I hate to say, I wish I was the one that made the choice, but, we had this great run with the last company in Florida. We grew it from scratch. I was the first one down there. I flew to an Airbnb and just started knocking on doors with one other guy closing deals. It was me and one other guy. I had no idea where I was knocking. I ended up knocking in the wrong utility for a couple days, trying to just ask people, what utility do you have? And like, like,
figuring it out.
Can we have a
The
conversation?
reason I'm down here is your utility bill's probably gone up with your utility company, which is obviously
fill in the blank.
FPL, right?
Oh, yeah,
right.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was like the most grassroots of the grassroots. And we turned that into a powerhouse. We had 30 to 50 reps, kind of fluctuating for the first 9 months. Probably the quickest any market's gotten opened at that last company. And then the company was like, hey, we want you to go move to Tampa and do the same exact thing. So I moved over there, brought a couple guys with me, and did exactly the same thing a little bit quicker. And then we'll kind of, sum up the next 3 years after that point. It was just a lot of, kind of building, but also taking steps back, like something we're all pretty familiar with, where it's like, I mean, this game is always building. You're always building. You're always trying to add new people in. You're always trying to get better. But it kind of got to a point where we weren't exactly getting to the next place. And there's a lot of reasons, but that company ended up on a whim, in my mind, in my eyes, just pulling out of the market. So I got a call on a nice Thursday night. I can remember sitting in my car in my driveway, and I got a call, and we're just like, hey, tomorrow we're out. We're pulling out of Florida. I got offered to move back to Massachusetts and kind of restart with the company in a different role, which I considered. But I ended up kind of making a decision for, my family and myself, just to stay in a place that I want to live in. And I feel like I also had some unfinished business a little bit, in Florida. Like I had this dream of growing it and building this like powerhouse market with all these great leaders and great people and great numbers. And we never really got there. So I decided to stay put and look for a new home. And kind of fast forward, there's a couple of days of just sitting down playing video games. That was nice for a little bit, not thinking about solar for a week.
Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Like, you don't get those moments often.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. Nobody calling my phone at 10 in the morning. But yeah, then I ended up just kind of going through the kind of I felt like the belle of the ball. I had a lot of different conversations I was having with people, and you guys were actually the last people that I spoke to. And I'm going to shout out Dylan Cron down in Tampa with me. I found you guys over Indeed. I heard about Boundless and I heard about you from one of my great mentors at my last company that I should check you guys out. And I couldn't find you guys. There was no signal. I couldn't
Shame on us,
I couldn't find the signal.
Wow. Yeah.
But I found you guys over Indeed, and it was literally just a sales rep ad. That's all it was. And it was Dylan's Indeed ad he was running by himself. And I sent him a message like, hey, I'd love to have a conversation, like blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, just so you know, it's door knocking. And I was like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I got it. So that was a great start. But he was the first person I spoke to and just felt how genuine he was and how focused he was and the vision that he had. And I felt like it aligned. And then, just meeting you guys, coming up to Massachusetts with kind of comparing that to the, interviews, I guess you would call them, that I had before. I don't think there was a major difference in what I was being offered necessarily, but there was a difference in the way that I was feeling about meeting with you guys and the opportunity that you guys were going to give me. So that kind of brought me to Boundless. And then I got started, I guess, a week later after that whole ordeal.
How would you describe this place for somebody on the outside that is maybe in the solar space and looking for a home? Like, what is it like here? And you can even compare and contrast maybe to what you'd experienced before.
Oh, I can do that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing I want to say, because I think all of us as sales leaders are always recruiting, and a lot of us are meeting, solar guys and girls at different organizations. And I think my advice is like, just be open to opportunity, because most people that I meet are successful. They are in a good place. They like the people that they work with. They're making money. But if there's a better thing out there for you, if there's a better vehicle to get to where you want to go or advance your career, why would you not even just have that conversation? So that's a little bit of you can sense there's a little, sometimes frustration. Like sometimes you talk to these guys and like they're open to the first conversation, but they don't follow through because they're comfortable. So sometimes you got to get outside of your comfort zone, which I can kind of bring that into the compare and contrast. My last company, I would say I was kind of, force sounds extreme, but I had a certain path I had to take. There was one way to do everything, essentially. And a lot of those things that I had to do to go down that path, in my mind, were not activities that really stimulated me as a person, as a leader. It didn't exactly get me to making more money or having more success or helping my people. A lot of it kind of felt like busy work to a degree. So I think the biggest thing I've enjoyed about Boundless is like, it's, in my mind, how I describe it to people, it's a true sales organization. Like, we just sell here. That's what we do. We recruit, we train, we sell. So everything that you do between the hours that you work, 9 to 5, let's just call it, it's all about growing. It's all about making money. It's all about succeeding. So that, for me, right away, like right when I started back in February, that's the first thing that I felt. Like, I felt, even though I was busy, I'm an extremely busy person, I got a lot on my plate, I feel happier doing it than I was doing it at the last company. I'm working the same amount of hours, doing all this work, but I feel happier and more fulfilled and more stimulated doing this work, because it feels like I'm doing something productive and something that moves things forward. So I think that's the most important contrast that I'll make. And, outside of that, I've really enjoyed the freedom and the autonomy I feel like I have as a leader. I feel like what you guys provide us is, the there's probably some things I'm going to miss, but you know, you provide us a brand, you provide us like kind of the walls of the house, maybe you would call it. You provide advice, you provide, you know, all the things a company should provide, but then at the end of the day, it's up to me to kind of create what I want to create. So I feel like I have more ability to run a business the way that I want to run a business, and the way that I want to train, the way that I want to recruit, the way that I want to run an incentive or run a blitz, whatever it is. So for me, that's been the best.
So you have like more freedom to design the interior of the house.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
type of
I'm
thing.
picking
Yeah.
the couch.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause back at, you know, the last company I was at, it was like, if I brought in like a, you know, a different picture on the wall and somebody walked into my house, they're like, why did you hang that picture on the wall? That wasn't an approved picture. So it's a weird analogy that we're using, but, yeah, it was, I kind of got scrutinized for doing something outside of what I was supposed to do. So, you know, here it just feels like I'm almost praised for doing things that are outside of what should be done, I guess, in a sense.
I hope everybody feels, you know, especially if everybody in this organization should feel that they have creative and artistic liberties they can take. You know, yeah, that's the intention. Our intention is, and like intentions are, you know, only as good as the execution of them, you know, but our intention is that we provide a framework and provide the scaffolding, so to speak, but then you can get the brush out and paint something in your own image. A great leader, in my opinion, great leaders need artistic liberties they can take. That's a part of the joy of leadership, is being able to create things. One of the downsides to it, like what's the downside? Actually, let me just ask you the question instead of me telling it. I have my own opinions, but like, what's the downside?
It's funny you asked that, because I was talking to somebody over the last couple of days, and I was having this exact conversation. It's like, when you have the freedom of choice, that's an opportunity to do what's the best for you, or the best for your people, the best path forward. But I guess sometimes when there's too many, you know, doors in front of you, you don't, you maybe the over, you know, the paralysis by over analysis.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there'll be too many opportunities or too many different ways of doing things, where you end up making no decision. You end up just kind of staying where you are. So I think that can be the downside. But at the end of the day, I think the platform that we have here kind of gives us the ability to have some trial and error. It's like, if you make one choice and it doesn't, you just got to make the choice, I think, is what you got to do. Like, as long as you're making the choice, then I don't think there is a downside to it. You just got to make sure that you evaluate it, you measure it, you course correct if you have to, and then you try the next door. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed that aspect with the leaders I get to work with, of just coming up with ideas with people. Like, that's cool. Like, I didn't get to do that at the last company. Last company, we talked about a spreadsheet. We got to make sure we update the spreadsheet. We got to make sure we're staying on that. Here, it's been a little bit more of like, okay, well, how can we solve this problem? How about we try this? How about we try that? And then putting a plan in place. So to me, that's,
yeah, I think that's great. And that's not for everybody. Not everybody should take artistic liberties or creative liberties, because they don't maybe have the acumen to do so. Like, it's not, I've said it before, you know, the signals going out. It's like, we're not for everybody. We're not everybody's cup of tea. Okay. It's fine. Not everybody likes tea. The English love it, but us Americans, we're not super big fans, you know?
No. There's a small group of people that like tea.
Yeah.
But those are the people that you need, you know?
Exactly. We want people to like, you know, so, well, that's fantastic. I want you to ask you about the state of Florida. Like, describe the region of Florida right now, and like who you would love to attract to the state of Florida.
Oh man. Okay. Well, Florida is a great place to live. If you're looking to make a relocation, you know, the weather, the beaches, Florida, it's like, that's the part I've enjoyed the most. Like, you know, I think I could sell solar in theory anywhere.
Yep.
And I'll kind of get to that. I think Florida will prepare that for you. Like, Florida will get you to be able to sell anywhere. But it's been awesome for myself and my fiance, just meeting new people, new experiences. I'm not a cold guy. I'm a little cold. I might need one of those sweatshirts, Mark.
I got you.
Psycho Bunny.
Shout out.
Let's bring it back to the sponsorship. But Yeah. So I think if you're looking for maybe a different chapter in your life, just to live in a place that's growing. I mean, Tampa especially is a lot of like young entrepreneurs are moving to Tampa. There's so much new opportunity that's going on in Tampa, Florida. A lot of really fun place to live. But secondarily, I would say, the type of people we're looking to attract in Florida is I heard you say Warriors when we walked in, so I don't want to like steal that from you, but I'm gonna steal that.
Oh, I don't think I invented it. So
No, yeah. But we're looking for some solar warriors, I guess I would say. Florida is an amazing solar market. There's so much opportunity. There's so many people, so much sunshine. But it's not everybody's cup of tea. I guess I'm going to say that. I don't know how in depth you want me to go into that, but we're looking for people that want to challenge. People that want to challenge their sales ability and challenge their leadership. And people that want to grow something, because I don't think any company in Florida has ever really had like a stronghold on it. Like since I've been down there since 2021 and even talking to people that have been there longer, it's just kind of been this like umbrella of companies that are selling in Florida. Like we're still kind of waiting for that one team, that one company to like do it the best, do it the right way and grow. And I think that's what the mission that I'm on, that's the mission that my team is on, is like the company in Florida. And it is, I do believe it's possible, because the more that the market goes on, new iterations of the Florida market, we've seen the bad players fall off. We've seen some good players, get, maybe different opportunities in different markets, but there's the kind of the loyal Florida solar people that are still there and still doing it the right way. And there's a lot more to be accomplished in a great place to be.
There's a future rise of the utility rates down there going on. There's actually a big thing going on in Florida. They're burying those power lines statewide underground. What is it, over the next 4 years?
It's
doing that?
Yeah. It's FPL, one of the biggest utility company in Florida, just requested the largest rate hike in U.S. history. And it's like, I think it's like $9 billion that they're estimating that it's going to cost over the next 4 years. I mean, when I was there 4 years ago, the average utility price was like, I think it was like 15 cents when I got down there in 2021. Now we're looking closer to 18 cents. We're seeing 20-cent utility companies. So the opportunity to sell in Florida has gotten better. But of course, there's been people trying to do it there for a long time. So that's what some people would say is the downside of the market, where it's like the doors have been knocked. You're not going to surprise somebody with solar in Florida. If you do, then great, good job. You probably get a great deal, but you got to weed through the people that have heard about it a bunch, I guess.
Yeah, I think the challenge too, when you say like Florida can be a challenging market to some, some solar reps are in markets where you're selling on the now. It's like, the prices are super high right now, solar's going up everywhere. In markets like Florida, you have to like predict the future with a customer a little bit. You got to sell the future, and so is that a part of what kind of makes it challenging? Like you got to paint a picture of what's coming with the customer down there.
Definitely. I think there's two things. Like great protection in Florida is super important. Because like the reasons why Florida has raised utility rates, like Florida's always done a good job of keeping their rates low. But just the kind of increase in hurricanes that we've had over the last 4 years have gotten a little bit more frequent, a little bit more powerful. And then 2021, there was also a huge population boom. 600, I'm full of these great stats. 600,000 people moved to Florida in 2021. And then they were on a streak for like a year and a half of 1,000 people per day coming into the state of Florida.
Wow.
So the utility companies are now starting to get tasked with this, upgrade, repair, expand. So and I ask people this all the time. It's like, do you think there's going to be less hurricanes in Florida? Do you think there's going to be less people wanting to live in Florida? Those factors are going to continue. So the utility rates will continue to rise like they will all across the country. Yeah. So more people are going to be looking for ways to save money. And it's not like it's a huge state, 23 million people. And, the cost of living is people always grew up with cheaper, but now that's changed.
It's not anymore.
It's not anymore.
It'd be a supply and demand issue down there. Shout out to Pat Murphy, always says, too many people, not enough power.
Yeah.
and that's where it's heading.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, selling on rate protection to people and like helping them kind of see the future, it's a very transient state. Like most people, run into people all the time from the Northeast, which is super cool. But, you have these people that just moved in, they don't know how long they're going to be there for. So it's like, you kind of have to kind of find what their story is, like what life story that they're on, and like what chapter was before, what chapter they're in now, what's the next chapter, and then relating that to the kind of chapters or iterations that Florida is going through over the next coming years. So I think that's a big part of the sale. And the other side of it is just the integrity and the connection that you form. Florida's been some stories, some crazy stuff that has gone on by some companies that have done some bad business, like anywhere. But I don't know if it got amplified more in Florida. That's my perspective, but it felt like a really big deal. So that's something that I've always that's been important to me. And what I teach people is like, you have a responsibility to do right by the customer, but you also have a responsibility for the market and the industry. Because if you don't give solar a good name, if you don't have a good interaction, you don't do right by them, they're going to go on Facebook, they're going to go tell their neighbor, oh yeah, solar's, the solar guys are scammers. The solar companies are scammers. But it's like, no, it's really just the one guy or the one company that did wrong by certain people. And that just had a snowball effect. So I think if you can capture those two things with a customer, of just communicating what's going on in Florida and what the future is going to look like and how solar can help them get ahead of that. But then also just making sure that gives solar a good name for the great product that it is, and the great financial decision it can be for a homeowner.
Mm-hmm. I do think it got hit disproportionately with some bad actors, and there was kind of a phenomenon that happened. I'm not going to name names, but there was a pretty big company that went bankrupt, and was pretty well known for doing shady business. Mm. And while everybody in the solar space, like the big players that are kind of well regulated and police themselves well, were located in like the major solar markets, which for a long time was, Maryland, New Jersey, the Northeast, California. That was what it was in the beginning. And then there were certain players that went into markets without any solar penetration yet, and very little rules or anything. And so they also didn't have a lot of competition. Mm-hmm. And so, there's one in particular that I know of that did a ton of volume, and they were very heavily in Florida and Georgia and some of the other southern states where really, like, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't even be doing solar in some of those states. Mm-hmm. There will become a day when solar is good for homeowners in those states, but they were doing it long before it was. And so I do think you're right. I think Florida was hit disproportionately with some of that chaos. And now it's our job to go through and sift through it. Why do you believe that there's so much meat on the bone despite that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious is just how many people are there. I mean, it's I forget the exact stat, but it's just such a huge population of people, and it's still growing. A lot of these major cities like Tampa, Orlando, Miami, the northern Florida cities are still seeing, growth of new businesses, apartment buildings getting built. Some of the biggest schools in our country are in Florida. So it's a place that's always going to be popular. So I think that's the thing you got to look at, is a 23 million population of people with, the last time I looked at the adoption rate of solar, it was like 3% or something like that. So it's a very small margin of people that have actually made the switch to solar. But then I think, like I just said before, the utility prices rising, of just like bills are just going to get more and more expensive. Like, it's pretty crazy to talk to some people out on the doors, and they haven't been believers in solar because they were paying $120, $150 a month on their utility bill. They didn't find it necessary. Now they're paying $250, $300. A lot of people I'm talking to are like, this is the most expensive bill I've ever gotten this summer. Mm-hmm. They're finally seeing those bills. So I think those are the big reasons. Like, I think if we fast forward, let's say 3 years in the future, I think Florida is going to be one of those markets that's talked about as like that's going to have the most solar growth over the next 3 years.
It's predicted to be outside of California is predicted to be I believe it's Florida, Illinois, and Texas are predicted to be the largest increase in solar adoption over the next like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. That's a place that I
yeah.
want to be.
I mean, listen, if you're trying to grow, go where growth is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, pretty hard not to grow when everything's growing around you.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit. I want to get a little more tactical with you. A lot of people that listen to this are listening because they are trying to get better at what they do. And you're somebody that's very good at what you do. And so I want to talk about what it is that you do well and how other people can adopt it and, get better themselves. Let's just start first and foremost with what goes into creating business out of thin air. Like, could you teach everybody how to set appointments and do it in like 5 minutes? So similar question here. Like, let's start there. And how do you do this and how do you do it well and what goes into it?
Yeah. I think I'll kind of use some themes that we talked about over the last couple of days. I think it's just it's activity. The more and more that you do it, the more that you could look at it with like an analogy of like fishing. Like if you always have a net in the water, like constantly, then you're eventually just going to catch something's going to fly through, and then you catch a fish, right? So I think that's the main thing that we have. I'm going to plug back Florida. Like I think we're the hardest working region in Boundless. I say that proud and confidently. And, if anybody wants to try and challenge that, let's go. We're just out there 5 days a week. Like that's what we do. That's the schedule. And that's what I do. Like even in all the things on my plate, having the opportunity to be a regional, I'm out there 5 days a week. I'm out there with my people. I'm helping them get deals. I'm helping them train. I'm trying to get my personal deals. So it really if you're asking yourself, how do I create more business? How do you knock more doors and how do you work more hours? And, that's to some people that can be like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. But, once you put yourself in a position of working hard and putting in the hours, then eventually you will get better and you also will get lucky. You have to work hard to get lucky in door to door. Like you'll find a great customer, you'll find a great deal just by being out there consistently. And then eventually, if you make those sacrifices enough, you get better, you start to fill a pipeline. You don't have to white knuckle every single day knocking doors. So, but that initial ramp up for you, you're not going to get anywhere without swinging the bat a million times. So I think that's the first thing.
Do you think people in solar work enough to achieve what they actually want to?
No. Well, I think some people get fed this, in my opinion, a lie that you don't need to knock as many doors as you have to every single day. I think people focus too much on the one-liners and the videos you can watch on YouTube and all those things are great. Like it's great watching videos and trying to get better and learning those things. But at the end of the day, I think my best months in my career almost I have great months. I don't want to make myself not, but my best months were in the beginning of my career where I knew nothing. I knew a pitch and I knew that I could go out there, I could compete and I could knock doors. So I think that's the main thing is if people sometimes think that it's, it's just going to come to you. Like eventually the more you watch videos, you practice the pitch, the deal's just going to fall into your lap. It's you got to do that. And then you got to go out there and you got to go get it.
All right. That's it.
Knock more doors. Well, it's what we were talking about over the last couple of days. We were kind of laughing a little bit about some sales cliches. And one of them's oh, it's a numbers game, and that's something that some people roll their eyes at sometimes. It's no, it's a numbers game. That's what it is. And then you get better in the process of that. And as you're going through that, but where the fall off happens, it's ooh, I got better. Now I can do less.
Yeah. And
then you do more or less than you actually get better at some point. And then all of a sudden the results start going away. And you're what happened?
Yeah.
It's it will and always will be a numbers game. Sales in general.
Yeah. For myself, it's I'm already here, right? Like I'm in solar. Like I've made this choice to be in this industry and be in this opportunity. So it's like if I'm going to make two choices, one is like, okay, I could do this, like I could live in an easy way or work in an easy way, then that's the results that I'm going to get. Or I could go like hammer out every single day and try and knock as many doors as I can and try and be out there for as long as I can to get that result. Like, I think that's something I emphasize to, my people all the time is like, we're already here, right? Like nobody's forced to be here. Nobody's got a gun to your head. Like you're choosing to work in solar. Well, it's like, well, let's do it 110%. So, I think that's, I know that's kind of a lame answer, just like knock more doors. That's how you're going to get more business, but there's not really a way around it.
I think it's a great answer. And I think from, people that struggle to put in the time and like give the energy and effort that's required, oftentimes are not actually being led by people who do the same. And so they struggle. And then getting out of that trap is something that they're forced to do alone. And it's very difficult to do anything in this life. To accomplish something great all by yourself is virtually impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want to give a shout out to you as a leader, because like it really takes something to lace them up and go and do it every single day and put a smile on your face and not fall victim to the idea that like, I only got so much. Like, I don't know how long I can do this. Well, as soon as you start thinking that way, like you're already set the clock,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lost that battle.
You can't fall out of love with the thing that gave you the best opportunity you've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
People just start to take it for granted all the time. I see it all the time, like great veteran salespeople that start losing it. And there's countless of them that, you see go to try and go and do something else. And then they end up getting back into it, but having lost a few steps or like lost some clout maybe or whatever. Like it takes time to develop that. It takes a lot of time to get followership and get reputation. And some people will literally throw it away because they get a little bit lazy or their mindset gets a little jacked up over a couple of months.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
I mean, I think it's also like a rhythm job, It's like once you're doing it for a couple days, couple weeks, months, years, then it's like you find yourself in this pattern of it's just your job. It doesn't turn into knocking doors really anymore. It's just like, it's almost like you're going out there, you get out of your car, you clock in, and it's what you do. So I think some people will kind of fall out of that rhythm a little bit, and they let the space between getting out of the rhythm to trying to get back into the rhythm way too long. And then eventually if that gap is too long, it's hard to start again. And I even feel it if I don't knock, if I go on vacation, like my first couple doors, I'm like, I feel a little bit weird, a little uncomfortable, yeah, sure. but then you find it again. And, the other side of it too, is like, you got to smell the roses, along the way of knocking doors. Like we do a funny thing, knock on doors for a living, and the work we put into it. But if you enjoy it and you find ways to enjoy it, like I believe enjoying something is a choice. Like in the times of my days knocking doors that suck, I'm getting told no, I'm in 95-degree heat in a Florida summer, like I have to find a way to enjoy that. Because that will give you satisfaction in your day. And then when your day ends, you feel like you did something that you enjoyed and something that not many people would do. I also take pride in that as well. Like I do something that a very small percentage of people would even try to do and that can do at a high level. And that's something I feel proud of.
I think it's cool that, like, if you were to describe something to somebody and you say, hey, like, you're going to imagine yourself in 10 years from now. And for those 10 years between where you are today and where you're imagining yourself in the future, you got a bunch of sunlight every day, or at least almost every day. Your step count was high. Like you were out moving, getting some, like you were moving, like your body's thanking you. Yeah. Right. And you had a bunch of like human interaction, vitamin D, movement, and human interaction. How do you think you are as a human being 10 years from now?
Yeah.
if that's what you did.
Happy. Yeah.
It's pretty hard to imagine that you got those three things on a regular basis, above and beyond what any normal human being would get, and think like, oh, I'm going to be in a pretty bad place. It's like, oh, let me add one more thing. So you're going to make a lot of money, get a bunch of vitamin D and good old sunlight. You're going to have a lot of movement going on. So like physically, you're going to probably be feeling pretty good. And
People.
the people, man, you're going to connect with people.
Yeah. Get a
It's
tan along.
it's not a recipe for depression. And so sometimes I think when people are struggling in this line of work, I think the real reason is that they're actually not doing that. And the mental weight of not doing it, but knowing you should be, weighs you down a lot. And I've been there before. Like I know what it feels like to be expected to be doing something, not doing it, and then dealing with the cognitive dissonance that is that. Like that is depressing.
I think also in the early parts of it, they go at it alone, and people try to go at it alone. And I was down in Florida. It's probably 4 or 5 months ago. I came down there.
Remember, like it was yesterday, Mark.
Yeah, man, it was yesterday. And I saw some magic down there, and I saw something awesome down there. And you guys do a ton of group work. You're in the field as a team, as a group, and it was awesome to see. So you guys have a meetup point, and you get out there together, and you meet up at a park right near a neighborhood, and somebody's I think it was Jesse was putting out the pin to everybody. It's like, here's where we're gonna meet. And so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I showed up, and it's the whole team, and you and Jesse are corralling the whole team, and there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of fun going on, there's really good dialogue going on, there's just good energy going on. And right away I was in that circle at that park, and I was like, ooh, I feel this. This is awesome. This feels good.
Yeah.
Group work is good work. When you do things together as a group. And then it's like, all right, everybody got your turf, and boom, we broke out from the park on foot. And then 2-3 hours later, we came back together. You brought everybody back together, and there was a little recalibration. There was some more laughter. It's like, what'd you experience out in the field today? What'd you experience on the doors? Like people sharing stories. And then round 2 until the end of the day, and then back together again for like a debrief at the end of the day. And like
a lot of meetings.
Yeah, man, it's super awesome. And I love that. And I think there's a recipe for success there. So if you're listening to this and you're like finding yourself going at it alone, it's like link up with somebody on your team, link up with your whole team. If you're a leader listening to this, it's like, get your whole team together. Group work is incredible work, and results are, you can't even calculate the compounding results that happen when you do things as a group and as a team versus going at it alone. Yeah.
I mean, I think like what you're saying, you'll just feel differently about it, and seeing people feel that same thing that you're feeling, being a part of something bigger than themselves, being a part of a team, a group of people that are positive, motivated, like that's a really special thing to be a part of. But I think as a leader, it's a special thing to build. And I've been very fortunate since he came up in conversation. I mean, shout out my man, Jesse Munoz. I hope you listen to this. I don't even know if he has Spotify. We'll have to like YouTube TV this thing. But yeah, man, I mean, that guy has just been such a great partner of mine for a little over a year now. He's just obsessed with doing things the right way and working hard. And if I'm somebody that wants to work hard and wants to go knock doors and just go win the ground game, and I love when you guys said that the first time I met you guys, then you can build something big. And again, I think at the end of the day, I know we're talking about door knocking and knocking more doors, but it's really kind of the only way to do it, in my opinion, at the end of the day. So
it's the only way that you can actually take to the bank.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen with, like, we've actually experienced this as a business, being very heavily reliant on like Facebook ads. Well, all of a sudden Apple and Facebook have a little dispute, and Apple's like, you can't track people's movements outside of Facebook anymore. And all of a sudden, $1 spent on Facebook that used to generate $2 back would generate 85 cents back. So you can't count on putting money in that machine anymore. But I think it comes back down to, as we were talking on the last episode with Bobby Braun, created value. Like that's what this is. That's what we do in this business is we create value. We help other people develop into people that can create value, and created value is something that can be taken to the bank. Somebody can't take that away from you. They can't change the rules on TCPA laws where it's like, I used to be able to call, I used to be able to do this. He's like, nope, you can create value from thin air. That's what we do. We go outside, we talk to people, we make connections, and we generate income and value for ourselves and for the people that do business with us. That's why solar is so incredible. There's not we don't have customers that have bad experiences. I'm not saying we haven't ever had one. We fix them and then they become good experiences. And solar, 99.9% of the time is going to be a great experience, basically start to finish. And then the 0.1, there's something that could go wrong here or there, and you got to solve for that and make it right. But it's just an incredible product. It's an incredible industry to be a part of.
I mean, and just to piggyback on that, I think it's an incredible skill set that we're all, learning and mastering, of going door to door and working with people and helping them. I mean, that's a skill that's going to be a commodity more and more as time goes on. How to sell, how to connect with people, how to market, how to sit down with somebody at a table. That's a skill set that a very small amount of people have. And then you add leadership into that. I mean, if you know how to lead, you know how to sell, you can do literally anything, and you'll find yourself hopefully growing a career in solar. But if you ever find yourself with a new opportunity on your plate, you're going to have a very transferable skill set on your resume to take to a new opportunity. And I think in turn, you're going to see that your life will get better knowing how to knock doors, which sounds insane, but it's
true.
Totally
it's
true.
It's a transferable life skill.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It is not insane. It is very sane, actually. If you go face rejection, overcome it on a regular basis, learn how to communicate effectively with people to the point where you can make friends by just showing up somewhere. That is an incredible value to somebody as a human being, just in general.
And then just the logic behind solar and just direct to consumer sales in general. There's no better product for somebody's home, and there's no better way to actually sell that product than go directly to their home and talk to them at their home about an incredible product for their home. So just logic will tell you, it's like, that is the best way to sell and how to get the results that you're looking for.
Yeah. I think no matter what, I don't think it will ever go away. People are always going to want that experience of buying a product, the emotional side of it. It's like, I mean, people are going to start buying solar on Amazon. That'll be a dark day.
Maybe that day will come one day. And fortunately, we will have been crushing for so long by then that life's pretty good. Way.
Well, I mean, I might just be an Amazon driver and I'll deliver the panels. At that point, I'll be okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what you see with reps and young leaders, and I want to know what are you seeing people do that maybe they're doing wrong or incorrectly, like things that you are often correcting or coaching on. Like, what are some of those things?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is I don't even think it has anything to do with sales or anything to do with solar. I think it comes down to just being I don't want to call them employees, but just somebody who's a part of the workforce. I think there's a lot of value in being somebody that just cares about working hard and doing the right thing and communicating well to an employer or to a leader. So it's I think it's becoming a little bit of a lost skill. Like, I don't want to, I guess I am getting a little bit older and I'm starting to be that guy that's like, oh, the next generation. But
you're the new boomer.
Yeah, I'm the new boomer.
Shout out to the boomers, by the way. Still crushing. Very optimistic group of people. We love you, and some of our favorite customers.
Yeah, and now we're going to replace them. We'll get the next round coming up. So I think that's the first thing that you see from a new rep sometimes, is just like, they're not really about working hard and showing up on time and practicing. Unfortunately, people, I think they just sometimes want it to be easier. People want it to be easy. They're thinking about ways that it can be easy instead of just, I guess stepping up to the challenge, I guess I would say, like if you're new and you want to get into it, it's like, you're going to have to just accept just doing the little things right. And that's the first thing I see is like people showing up late, people, making a reason why they can't show up that day, not practicing their pitch. So then they show up on the first couple of days. When they finally show up and they're rolling out of bed, they're thinking about what they were doing before, and they don't know their pitch. Then they go try and knock doors. Then they get the door slammed in their face and like, this is way too hard. I don't want to do this. And then people probably give up sooner than they should, because there is a moment. I've always told this, like, I think anybody can do this job. Yeah, there's people that are born with an innate ability to connect with people and like just do that. None of us were born with an ability to knock doors. We were just born with an ability to talk to people. I think that is also a learned skill. I think anybody can learn how to talk to somebody. It's in there somewhere. It's just buried on top of what they've kind of been conditioned of, like what they think their personality is or what they think about themselves. But like, you can tear that off. I was having a great conversation a couple of days ago with I'll shout out Jordan Franks in Peoria. We were talking about ourselves as like werewolves. We're like peeling our skin off of like the person that you were and then the person that you can be. But to do that, I mean, that's an intense analogy, but it's like, you got to show up and you got to practice and you got to work hard. So I think that's the number one thing I'm constantly coaching on. It's like, I don't have to always coach somebody like, hey man, like this is how you close. This is how you build value. Like, yeah, that's a part of it. But it's just like, hey, what's stopping you from showing up on time? What's stopping you from practicing your pitch at home? What's stopping you from not just being able to focus just on this and kind of like free yourself from maybe what your fears and what your anxieties are about failing? Like just go do it. So I think that's the first thing. And I mean, I can plug a quick story. You guys know what cribbage is?
Cribbage?
Cribbage?
Yeah.
Yes. This is the second time in 2 days people have known what cribbage is. Anytime I tell the story, nobody has any idea what cribbage is.
We were talking to a bunch of losers, that sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know what cribbage is, all right?
The people that
Fun
don't know
game.
cribbage, they don't last long. But yeah.
no. Losers and nerds, okay?
Yeah. Great game. That should be the next sponsor for you guys. Cribbage. You got to bring that
We
back.
could probably, I bet we
Take
could
it
get
back.
Cribbage to sponsor this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
bet.
sure.
I mean, it's been pretty easy to get most of them so far.
Yeah, they're begging
So,
for a sponsorship.
yeah.
They'd love that. But my first day knocking doors, I practiced my pitch so hard. I was walking through my house, knocking on my fridge, pitching my fiance. I was having nightmares about the pitch. So I knew it forwards, backwards, sideways. And I went out there on my first day and I focused so hard on saying the pitch. And I focused so hard on thinking about how successful I wanted to be. And also I feel like kind of thinking about how I got to this point. Like I was like, hey, this is like that chapter of my life has closed. I'm opening up this one and I want it to be such an amazing chapter. And it was a terrible day. It was raining. I was in Medford, Massachusetts, knocking on doors and didn't connect with anybody and had no success. I thought about quitting that very night. I went home and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not a salesperson. Maybe I can't do it. And the perspective that I got was that I wasn't exactly present. I wasn't in the moment of what I was doing. I was thinking about my past. I was thinking about my future, and I just wasn't myself. And I wasn't just doing me, I guess. So I went out there the next day, and I remember I sat in my car like a weirdo, and hands on the wheel, just took like 10 deep breaths just over and over again. And I opened up my eyes. I was like, okay, let's just go talk to people. That was like the advice I gave myself. I'm just like, okay, I know my pitch. I know I can work hard. I'm just going to go try and make a friend today, and I'm going to see what's going to happen. And if I still feel the same way at the end of the day, maybe it's not for me. I knock on like 10 doors in a row. I wish I remember this guy's name, but came out, old Medford Italian guy. He's shirtless. And he's like, what the hell are you doing here? Me and my wife are playing cribbage. And I didn't even skip a beat. I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. Whose crib is it? And we literally talked about cribbage for like 20 minutes. And then eventually he was just like, what are you doing here? And I was like, and I feel like I remember looking around and be like, my name's Will. And I'm here to see if you could go, qualify to go solar. And that was my first appointment. And then I booked for that day. So to kind of bring that all together, I think it's like, I was able to have that moment of like figuring it out because I was showing up, because I was practicing, because I wanted to win and I didn't give up at the first sign of adversity. So I think that's where a lot of people that say they wanted to get into sales, they say they want to get into solar, it's like they're not really preparing themselves in the way that they should. And it's not like they have to prepare from this crazy thing that, like, yeah, door to door is challenging, solar is challenging, but it's like, it's almost the same way you would prepare going to a job at McDonald's, just like making sure that you look good, you know what you got to do. I think a lot of people, just because it's sales and there's freedom involved, they think that they don't have to do those things. Because then once you do all that, you bring all that together. Once you work hard, you show up, you practice your pitch, then what you can actually do is focus on being yourself, because that's what people are going to buy. And that was the realization I had on my first day. And shout out my trainer. I'm going to shout out a name. If I haven't talked to him in a while, but James Jungle Randall. I would call him and I'm like, Jungle, like they said no, like what's going on? He just kind of had like a mumbly type voice. Like, I don't know, man. Just don't be weird. That's all he ever said to me. And I was like, are you sure you don't have any other advice you'd like to give me? And he would just reiterate that to me over and over again. And that's just all I thought about walking up to a door. I was like, okay, just don't be weird. Just don't be weird. And I think that helped me start to see success and build that momentum. And that's what every new rep needs getting into solar. They need to feel comfortable. They need to feel like they're starting to see early wins and small wins, which is a huge thing we do in Florida. Like the doors knocked, being on time, knowing your pitch, looking sharp. Like if you're checking all those boxes, then you're building confidence in yourself. And then all of that starts to help you see success. So it's not really found in solar knowledge. I don't think new reps need to know anything about solar. I just think they have to show up at the end of the day.
You said something that I think is pretty profound. I love that you just wouldn't even answer my question.
I didn't answer the question
kidding.
there.
No, you did. I asked you, I said, what are some things that you see people maybe not doing, or like things that you need to correct? And like, what I was expecting you to say was like, well, I see people doing this, and then I tell them to do this on the doors. But what you said was that people just aren't showing up. Like they're not like really there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that you say that. Like, as you said that, I'm like, you know what, that might be the biggest problem that there is for us as leaders in sales to solve, is people like take this job, like they sign up for it in a moment. There's a moment where they're like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And then, so I wanted to ask you, because you identified this phenomenon, which is like a human being. As I was thinking through it, I was just kind of imagining like a young kid or somebody that's, not really giving themselves, like not really wanting to challenge themselves, not really, showing up late, not wanting to like impress their boss, which is foreign, I think, to a lot of like, to people that like winning, and like, like they want the boss to think they're awesome. They want to be seen as. What is that? Why do you think that is? Where does that come from?
I think it's, we could go kind of deep here. I think it's like,
I think we have to I don't know the answer.
I don't know if there is an answer. I think it's people's perspectives, I think, are so much different and so more unique than they were, shout out the boomers. Like, I think I just feel like everybody has their own perspective and their own opinions, which is like, there's beauty in that, but there also is like, there's a way to almost kind of isolate yourself to a certain degree and think that your way is the way to do it. And like the way I think is the most true, or the best way to do something, I guess. So I think there's like an overload of information and opportunity that people think about in this day and age. And it's like, if we want to kind of relate it back to the job and like people doing a good job, I just think, social media can be entertaining, but it can also be a way to kind of compare yourself to others in a negative light and see all these, like the people. Yeah, let's just use like the TikTokers, the people that are making videos and driving Lamborghinis. or like, just selling, taking a life insurance video and be like, I just made $400,000 today. Something crazy like that. Some people think that's real. People think that's what success is. And then the people that have that level of success market that success as like, it's not the same conversation that we're having right now. They're not talking about showing up and working hard and putting the hours and practicing. It's kind of like, sign up for this course and work 20 hours a week wherever you want. People market the remote work and like work wherever you want, freedom and all this stuff. So I think more and more people are starting to think that that's what success is.
Or thinking that even exists.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. More often than not, when I see people marketing themselves as a certain thing and I know them, it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's almost never true. Which, if that's true for people that I know in real life, if we extrapolate that to the entire global population, it's possible that most everything we see online is just complete bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for this podcast.
Except for the signal. And like my thing is like, I don't want to project any sort of like hate on those people, because I hear that too. Like I hear the people that are like, oh, it's like those people online, they're doing this and doing that, and like they're making money, they're being successful. I think there's like envy and jealousy. It goes like, man, I wish I could not work hard and make all that money. But I don't feel that. I don't think anybody should, because I don't think a lot of it's probably not real. A lot of it's also bullshit. But even if it was real, who cares? What is you even having any sort of emotional reaction even do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where people get caught up. They start to like, for some reason, think about other people and what they're doing and what's real and what's fake. And then they just lose this total sense of like themselves and what they can do today to start striving towards wanting to be successful.
Yeah. And I think, like you look at products that are created, almost every product is created for one purpose, and it's to make things easier for people. Everything. It's like, make it easy. It's like we're in like make it easy syndrome. And so for so long now, it's like, well, this new thing, this is going to make this easier, and this will be easier, and that'll be easier. Buy this will be easier. And I think most people have the idea in mind that certain paths that you can take in life will be easier, just like a product might make something easier for you. And we're surrounded by that everywhere. And I think it's
a good point.
Permeated everything. The path of least resistance, is the one that will actually bring you to the top of the mountain. It's like, it's just not true. I haven't found it to be true.
No. And if you find it, like, hell yeah, like respect. And
let me know.
Yeah, let me know. Like that's cool. If you like, it's cool for life to be easy. Like at a certain point, it should be like, you should feel, nobody wants to feel stressed. Like, and stress is also something that we put on ourselves. So it's like, I don't want this to sound like you shouldn't look for things that, make you feel good and make things kind of feel not stressful and not like you're breaking your back. But it's not a reality that everything can be that way. And especially depends on what you want. Like if you want something big, if you want a certain lifestyle, then it's like, you can't just look down the easy path. And I think that's what I see a little bit more of, trying to recruit people into solar. It's just like, you just don't want it to do anything hard.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is like, I think we said it at some point, like I remember, applying to supermarkets as a kid, and my mom made me call the supermarket and even sometimes go into the supermarket like, hey, my name's Will. I put in an application, like trying to impress and like be somebody that's following through and taking those steps and being diligent. That's not something you see anymore. Like it's more of like I'm the one with the job here, but then I feel like I'm trying to chase somebody down to have an opportunity, which is weird. And I think it all is kind of a culmination of all that.
Well, that's why we send out a signal. We want to attract people that want these things,
Yeah.
Instead of like, because it's not fun to hire somebody and they don't actually want to do the thing that they're hired to do.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't want to push you to do it if you don't even want to do it. Like now we're like opposing forces in each other's lives. It's like, I don't want to be that to anybody. So, well, how do you, let's just talk about just motivating and like, you know, creating a culture that is inviting and exciting and, you know, high performing. How do you do that? Talk to the leaders that are listening in about leveling up the game of their team. Like, what does it look like when you really, you know, get your team to a new place where the environment is winning?
Mm-hmm. I think it's just know your people, like know the people that you're leading, you know, like those are sometimes some of my favorite conversations I get to have with somebody. I'm just like, how's your dog? What are you up to? You know, like what's a hobby of yours? Because then you start to like form these connections with people, and then you can continue to deposit in that over time and like check in on those things and share stories and find common ground. So that's something that I enjoy, and I think is going to help somebody create a great culture, is like people that are, you know, friends. And man, I just thought of this too. It's kind of coming full circle. I remember the last company I was with before Boundless all the time would say, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. And it's like, yeah, okay. Are they not like, they're not getting invited to the backyard barbecue that I have with like my like day-to-day life friends. But, you know, I always struggled with that a lot because like I wanted to be somebody that they liked. I wanted to be liked. And that's maybe a little bit of maybe that's a me thing, but I think we all do. We all want to be liked. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Guilty as well.
Yeah.
Guilty as well. And I don't want to apologize for it either.
No.
And I don't think you should.
Yeah. So I think that's, I don't know, like, I don't mean to kind of bring that up, but that's what I feel like the best cultures that I've been able to be a part of. And I think my culture's always been unique because I had a relationship with almost like every single person on the team. And even if it was just like making them laugh and just like, man, like, you know what? I kind of hate knocking doors, but I like Will. I feel like sometimes people show up to go knock doors just because they like the person that they're being led by, and they like the team that they're a part of. And that doesn't really get done. Like, I'm not going to talk about, oh, you got to have a great incentive, or you got to have the best training. Like, yeah, that's so important. That's going to help you have like a real great professional sales culture. But I think all that to me is secondary to just like liking being around each other.
Yeah.
I think that's the first step.
I think of like something feeling real, you know, like important relationships in your life feel real.
Yeah.
You know, and you enjoy them and you enjoy being around those people, and you're pulled to be around those people more often. I want to be around my wife all the time, and I want to be around my family all the time, and my friends all the time, and the people I do business with all the time. And it feels real. And if it doesn't feel real, I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to be a part of it. I feel like I don't belong to it. And so I think there's something there in what you're saying. And it's like, well, how do you create a feeling that's real for people? Where it's like, oh, this just ain't like any other manager of mine I've ever had. It's like, this is a real relationship. This guy's in it for me to win it.
Yeah.
And he wants to see me succeed. And I love that. And he understands me. And I feel heard and understood. And I'm pretty sure he knows what I want. He's going to help me get there. And so like, I don't think it's one thing or the other. It's like, you can't be friends. You got to be their manager. It's like, it's a nice blended mix of all of it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've never been a big fan of the word management. I think that it's leadership. When we talk about that here, it's like you're in leadership. And I guess, you know, maybe we're being hypocritical because we have titles called manager. But in the dialogue going on here, the dialogue is about leadership. And what you're talking about is authentic leadership. And I think good leaders make people's lives better in a multitude of different ways. And if that's not what you're doing, I think that you should probably take a step back and like reevaluate the life that you're living, because nobody's going to be on their deathbed thinking about how happy they were that they put this person on a PIP and really reduced their head count down and got, like push these low performers out and like, but I think people are gonna be sitting on their deathbed and thinking about the time that somebody on their team that maybe even wasn't that great of a performer uh, got a helping hand, or like you can think back on those moments where like, oh, I'm glad I gave this person a call, or I'm glad that sometimes people are going through stuff that you don't even know, and good authentic leadership is what it's all about, in my humble opinion. I think the results will come. And they will last much, much longer. That's the difference. I've seen a lot of people that have managed big teams in the past and they have 0 followers today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've worked with a lot of people that have just seen their following continue to grow over time. And I think that's the proof is in the pudding. And the pudding is the group of people that you're leading. And if that group is turning over constantly, the proof is in the pudding. If that group is not, if somebody's, going somewhere or starting something up and there's nobody there, like what was somebody said, I don't know, in our leadership summit, they were talking about, if you're a leader without followers, you're just a person going for a walk.
Yeah. Yep.
And, so yeah, I think.
Well, aren't you just sales of your? that was my.
That was the inside
person
joke.
That was the iteration there. Yeah.
Well, the inside joke there was, Mark referenced Jeremy Goddard's line, which is, if you're a salesperson without any sales, well, you're just a person. And then Mark's like, yeah, and if you're a sales leader without any followers,
you're just a sales.
You're just a sales, I guess. You probably had to be there, unless it's absolutely hilarious on this video. It could be. Will, this has been pretty sick. I want to give you open mic for a second. And I don't know if you were thinking about this podcast coming up when we asked you to come up and do it. But as you were thinking about it, what were some things that maybe went through your mind that were like, ooh, this may be a good thing for me to say or talk about?
Oh, man. Well, I think I've done a couple, calls or interviews, whatever you would kind of call this with you guys. I haven't gotten any prep.
The cross you bear. The cross you bear is when you're good. I ask you to speak up, and I don't give you a ton of prep time.
No, there hasn't been much prep yet. Man, so I don't know. I did not prepare an answer to that question. I didn't really think about too much. I mean, this was my first time getting together with everybody at Boundless, and it was just awesome. And in multiple different ways, like, of course, like what we got to talk about and like the direction that we're heading in, like that's super exciting. There's good reminders, there's new ideas, something for us to go back and do. So like, that's great. But it's always just great to be around, the people that you work with and the people that you see on the Zoom calls, and you figure out how tall they are.
Yeah.
No
Finally
idea.
get to size them up properly. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just got to meet so many awesome people, and I guess I just want to, say thank you to you guys and to the people that I got to meet over the last couple of days. Cause even though I don't directly work with a lot of them, for me, that's my feeling of belonging is important. And I think it's important to a lot of people. And I think everybody's walking out of that summit we had over the last couple of days feeling like they belong, which is super cool. And I got to see that with like the new guys that we've brought in, the new leaders, these new markets. Like I can feel that they feel that now, which like I get a sense of fulfillment. I get excited from that. And I know that that's going to help them start to grow their business and start to see more success. Yeah. And, had some funny interactions with some people. I don't know if this is a great story to tell, but I remember when Jesse Munoz figured out that we were roommates. He's just like, he's not a roommate guy. He's not a roommate guy. He immediately starts like trying to be like, okay, well, like what time we going to bed? Like what volume do you put the TV on? Like what's the lighting? So, but with all this to say, it's a random story that I'm telling. It was just, it was cool spending some time with him, getting to know him a little bit on a deeper level, having some good talks about our partnership and our future. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you guys put together over the last couple of days, and maybe my open mic moment, what I can talk about to close this out is just seek opportunities like that in your career to feel a sense of belonging and to be able to connect with people and collaborate. Cause I think what you said of like, looking back, or I guess, did you say deathbed? Is that what you said?
I don't remember exactly.
So I
what
guess,
said, but
I
it
guess
was
we're
something
gonna,
like that.
I
Yeah.
guess we're gonna go there, like the deathbed thing. Like, I think you're gonna look back one day and like you're gonna, obviously you want success, you want to have certain things, you want to do certain things, and that'll be a part of what you look back on, and you want to make sure you don't have regrets with that. You work hard, you get those things. But I think the other thing is like you'll look back and like think about the I guess I'm going to call it like the impact that you'll have on other people or society or the world. And of course, what you accomplish will be a part of that. But for me, my sense of fulfillment is also just like connection, like, and just like having good interactions with people, making somebody laugh, making somebody feel good about themselves. And I think that's something that this job gives us and events like this give us, is like, even if it's not a direct transaction that's made or a monetary thing that's gained or a sale that's made, it's like that's still another person, another, that you got to interact with and share energy with and make a lasting impression on. Like, for me, I just think that's super cool. And I think the way that I can make this make the most sense, because I feel like I'm getting a little bit profound here. Like when you're knocking on doors, it's advice my mom gave me right when I started knocking doors. She was like, don't disconnect that you're just talking to another person. And for me, what that turned into is like every single no that I get, I just try and make it where it's just like, we're just another person that's crossing paths. I'm sharing good energy to you. You're sharing good energy to me. And I think for me, that's a great impact you can have on the world. Just like sharing a hello, how are you? And making that be meaningful. So I think that's my, I don't know where that's all going.
I love that, dude. And I think we were talking earlier about relationships feeling real, just a little bit ago. And so who makes you feel that way here? Like, who do you work with here? Here's a good opportunity to give a shout out to the people that you work with that make this feel so real to you.
Honestly, all of them, which is like such a cool thing that I've gotten between where I was and where I am now. I had a small group of people that I got to do that with. Now with here, like, talking about the band yesterday, forming your band, your people that you get to play music with, I feel like I'm like the Dave Matthews Band or something. Like there's like 10 people on stage. Like it's not just like, so it's just so cool. I mean, the first person that comes to mind, I'm going to blow his head up here. I just feel like he's somebody that I can just be straight up with, and just like, I don't have to sugarcoat anything. He certainly does not sugarcoat anything with me. So that helps us get business done. But it also, I think it's formed like a friendship that we have. Like we get to have fun with each other. We get to send each other stuff on I don't know, whatever it is. So Rob's been one of those guys. I mean, Jesse Muno has always been my dog. Like that guy inspires me. I get to, he laughs at me all the time for kind of who I am, and I laugh at him who he is. Like I'm kind of the more outgoing kind of funny guy, and he's like we call him Juggernaut, like from X-Men. Like he literally wears a cement helmet and runs through walls, and that applies to many different areas of his personality. So yeah, man, I mean, I just got, I feel like I'm a part of a great organization with a great subgroup that I have in Florida. And I think if you have that, you got good people that you can be yourself with, and you guys can share good energy. That's how you make money together and you grow something. Those are the two people I started with, like Jesse, I came with from my last company. So like, also I want to shout out just really quick on that, just like his loyalty and just wanting to just follow me. I remember I called him flying up here to meet you guys. Like I was like, hey, this is where I'm going. This is why I'm excited about it. And if it all goes well, like I got your back, like you're coming with me, and I'm going to advocate for you coming with me. So I just feel cool that I got to do that for him. I remember I said that when in our hotel room, watching a movie together. I was like, dude, just thank you. Yeah. Like, thank you for being here with me. This is super cool. And then like that, that Tampa team that got formed right away, working with Dylan Cron. I mentioned his name once, but I just feel like we have like super similar personalities. Like we're kind of the outgoing guys. So we just have a lot of great dialogue, and he's been such an awesome partner on the sales side. Cause like, I think what you talked about like the last couple of days, where it's like, you're not just a sales leader, and I'm going to paraphrase, won't say it as good as you did, but like, we're all we all have a responsibility to grow the team, and that those lines can sometimes get blurred. It can be a Venn diagram, whatever it is. Dylan has been the best example for that. Like whenever I need him to step up to the plate, work with the marketers, be that guy, he's there, and like he's just been awesome. Then his partner Jeremy Wicks, man, dude is just a sniper. He's one of the best salespeople that I've ever been able to been around, with his sales knowledge and his energy and his activity. He's just always there to run an appointment, give advice. Another just great person as well. Just a dude I've been able to call a friend as I've been working with in the last 5 months. And I also got to go back over to Orlando with Rob and working with his cousin Dylan. Dylan's a young guy with a lot of heart and a lot of work ethic. And I think what I want to shout out about him is like, I just see him growing over our time here from February to now. Jesse Munoz has been a great influence on him. I just see him just like becoming a better leader, which to me is like working with a leader that you see growing. I think that's the coolest part, because like we're always looking for leaders, but sometimes if you have somebody that's just like going to show up every single day and want to get better and work hard, I'd take 10 of those tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, of course I want somebody that has solar experience, but if you just show up and you like want to try and do what we want to do, then I'll teach you everything you got to know. So Dylan's been a great guy for that. We also got the great Scory Fernandez down there. That dude's just, he's just got a lot of great energy, kind of helping us follow the plan. His thing is just like, whatever you guys think, I'm there. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of Scory's thing. And we got this new team in Tallahassee, shout out them, because that's my first time outside of Central Florida. That was, Tampa and Orlando has always kind of been my focus and my home. So going up to Tallahassee, I was like, okay, what is this going to look like? How's this going to work? And Jay, you know what I mean, Luperfido. I'm gonna trademark that for him, because he'll say that a couple times on the phone. He's from New York. Again, just guys with just so much tremendous talent, and just their sales ability and the communication we've had so far. Like it's a good foundation for growing something amazing when there's talent, and there's also just great communication. So I just think across the board, there's just so many great people we have in Florida to collaborate with and grow with. And I think that's where something great starts.
Yeah. It's, some people say, I've heard it said before, having a great team is not the most important thing. It's the only thing. Everything else can be figured out. A great strategy, like, give me a great team. And then, the old saying is that, culture eats strategy for breakfast or lunch, or whatever meal, probably whatever meal you like, insert there. But yeah, you guys got it going on, dude. And we're gonna wrap this thing up, but I just want to thank you for coming up here, and that you've talked a lot about authentic leadership. I don't know that you necessarily named it that. I might have named it for you. I don't mean to put a label.
Thank you for that.
I don't mean to put a label on it, but like, that's what I've seen from you. And that's what I saw from you the day that I met you, when you came up here. I get a call from Wicks and Dylan down in Tampa, and they said, can you talk to this guy? Who else can talk to this guy? Cause he's awesome. And you came up, and to your mom's advice, right? Don't forget that you're just talking with another person. You came in the door and everybody loved you from day one. And it's because you're just an authentic human being. And
appreciate that.
I love that about you. I love the leadership that you're bringing. You've done a couple of different calls for the company, and this one's going to be recorded and put on YouTube and whatnot. But, if your parents listen to this, you should be very, very proud. Will is absolutely awesome. And he's been a great addition to our team. I even talked to somebody at your old company, a friend of mine. We just reconnected, and I said, you never told me that Will Lombardi was such a stud. I said, I'm like, he's awesome. He's thriving here. And he was super happy to hear that. So I'll tell you who that is after this. But anyway, ladies and gents, this has been episode 7 of The Signal. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Will Lombardi, Mark Featherstone, and myself. We will see you next time. Thank you.